All right, guys, I realize it's getting dark. Today is the third day in a row of rain. Today was probably the heaviest day. We really got a lot of rain coming down. Today, last night, it rained all night last night, so we got pretty much again. That spot in the field had just dried up, and now it's full again. So I'd say probably an inch of rain or more in the past couple days. But anyway, today's video. All right, like I said, it's getting dark here, and it's cloudy too, so that doesn't help. But anyway, I want to answer a few questions and basically answer my question here. Where am I at? Where's PA Farms at as far as the farm and the progress here? What's coming up? What do I have done? What needs to be done? I can answer a couple questions there. As far as the farm itself, as far as farming again for next year, yes, I am talking about 2019 growing season, even though it's still the end of 2018. So I'm not gonna lie, 2018 was a loss for the farm. It was a significant loss. Like I say, it just the rain and the weather and lack of sunshine, and maybe some things I did too. I don't want to blame everything on the weather, but anyway, 2018 was a loss. So some of the things that I did this year in preparation for last year are going to definitely help. And in case anybody's wondering, yes, we are going to go another year. If next year, like I say, if next year's a bad year, we're going to have to do something a little bit different here. But we're definitely going to go again next year. Can still keep going. I have all my herbicide bought, paid for, and stored here. That's going to be the first thing come spring. I'm going to have to go out and do the pre-emerge in all the fields. So that's here. I can do that. When the weather turns nice next spring, we can do that. Guys are always commenting on the corn stalks and whether I'm going to rotocut them, why I don't rotocut them, will I rotocut them? The answer for me is no. I don't rotocut corn stalks. If I had my own rotary cutter, and I've had probably 6-7 of them throughout the years, I might be tempted to, but the couple reasons why I don't. The guys that do my planting and harvesting, they said they don't do it in theirs. They think it's a waste of time and fuel, which is their take on it. He said you can if you want to, but he said, for one, rotocutting it makes a lot more trash on the surface that the planter has to try to plant through. Now, they are higher yielding farmers than I am, so they definitely have more trash with their corn. So I don't think it'd be an issue for me if I'd rotocut it. The other reason why I don't rotocut it is the wind will take that trash in the spring when it gets dry and sunny. It gets so windy up on top of the hill up there. I have seen corn stalks blow from people's fields that do rotocut all the way into the woods and over here, and the wind is a factor, and it's taking the trash away. It's taking it out of the field. Like I say, everything's up on a hill. The winds whip through there and take the corn stalks. Anything that's dry, it's like leaves. It's like leaves blowing around. So with the stalk standing, the trash cannot blow away. It's kind of stuck there. Another reason, number 3, why I don't do it, like I say, it's not really necessary. They can plant beans right through the corn stalks, and you'd think it would be an issue, but I commented this, by the time let's say the fall of 2019 rolls around, the beans will be here ready to cut. Those stalks, some of them are still standing. They're like paper. They have deteriorated to the point where it's not an issue for the combine to clip off some of the corn stalks, and then that trash can go out the back with everything else. Reason number 5, 6, wherever I am, I read an article in one of the no-till magazines that recommended not rotocutting the corn stalks because the advantage of leaving that root ball intact is greater than having it unintact. And when you rotocut, sometimes you're knocking some of those, granted some of the roots will stay put, you're just going to clip them off, but I've seen a lot of cases when you're rotocutting, it's jolting the stalk, more so if you have dull blades and you're tearing out those root balls. They say to leave them right where they are. So we don't have any rotocutting. Step 1 in the spring is going to be putting down the pre-emerge, and we have that and we're ready to go. I still don't have any nitrogen ordered. I have to look to see what the price is and talk to a few guys. That'll be phase 2. Phase 3, The manure, everybody wants to know about the chicken manure. When am I going to spread the manure? The answer is spring. I'm not going to do anything this fall. I don't want anything running off. I see more benefits to putting it on in the spring when you're going to be planting. Probably, I want to try to do it 3-4 weeks before we plant is going to be my goal. So this spring, that'll be the next step after everything else is done. I might not put the pre-emerge on until after. I might spread the manure first and then wait a couple weeks and then put the pre on just in case there's any weeds escaping. I'm going to let that manure pile sit there today. It is steaming with the rain falling. It is a steaming pile. So I want any weed seeds to get hot and steam out. And you're hearing the barn cats. I got to feed them yet. Anyway, so that's where we're at with a couple things. As far as the equipment, I know I said the 986, I was going to tear those brakes apart and see about working on them over the winter. We're in economy mode now. It's not a great concern to me. They still work. They're still fine. So we're going to let it go. It's just going to have to get let go for another year. I talked about working on the baler, maybe putting in some plunger knives. Again, that's going to wait. It still works. Less hay acres. That was another question a lot of guys had was why don't I just go to more hay if hay is selling? The answer is a couple. Let me run through this again. I confused a lot of people. I know that because I have been him-hawing around back and forth about what I want to do with the hay. The problem for me is being a one-man show, number one, is how much time it takes to make hay. Granted, the hay is already planted. I don't have any seed bills. All I have to do is put some nitrogen on. I have the equipment to harvest and put up the hay, so that's not an issue. The problem is timing and time for one guy to work through all 6 of these hay fields. So that's number one. And timing also goes in with 2019. I'm going to be working a lot more to make up for what I lost here on the farm this year. Like I say, it was a loss. So the income has to come somewhere. So working my other job a lot more is going to be what's going to happen. So there again, less time. All right, number two, why I need to get rid of some hay. It's time to rotate some of these hay fields. They've been sod for 50 years. Some of them are not producing very well. It's just getting to be old grass, old sod. So that's reason number two. Reason number three, yes, I am selling it, but there is no way with the customers I have now that I'm going to sell, get the barn empty for next year. There's going to be old hay again, like there's old hay up there now from 2017. So I can make more hay than I can sell. So it's going to be fine to cut out 2 fields of hay, and I should be down to where I want to be. By the end, I'm going to stick with the customers I have now through winter, and it'll keep moving out of here. And by the time we reach the end of winter, before the people's pastures are starting to get nice, I want to go on like an advertising blitz with the hay and try to get it cleaned out for spring, just to move the rest of it. So that's the plan for the hay. So these hay fields are going to go into corn. I was looking, the USDA is forecasting farmers to plant 5% almost more corn this year than last year. And I think that has a lot to do with the soybean price and the soybean market. Just by my rotation, the natural rotation of the farm here, everything's going to get rotated with 2 hay fields going into corn. I will be planting more corn. Not that I want to. I don't think that that's... I can't recommend what to do for anybody. You have to make your own decision. But if I was in the position to plant more beans this year, I would. I really think the soybean market's going to get straightened out here within the next year, by next fall. Maybe it won't, maybe it will. It's a gamble you take. But yes, I will be part of that 5% that does plant more corn, just from the natural rotation. These are going to be beans, of course, but there's going to be a lot of corn up on top of the hill. So like I say, I don't know if planting beans on both sides here is going to be a good way to spread out my risk because they're wet. And if I had beans down here in 2018, it would have been a total nightmare. It would have been a disaster. So I don't know. We have to think this one through. I cannot put manure on these fields for extra nutrients because of the creek and the pond. So that's out of the question. More so this side. This side isn't as close. This one is in the buffer zone. This one is not. So that's why the manure is sitting back there. So a couple other things. I'm just trying to think here where we're at. Like I say, it's going to be kind of a I don't want to say uneventful year, but it is going to be a year of economy, and that's just the way it has to be. Like I say, I'm going to be working a lot more to try to make up for things, and like I say, we're going to just, through the winter here, we're going to try to keep moving hay. That's going to be the plan. Like I say, late winter, we're going to go on an advertising spree to try to move the rest of it. So that's where we are. Looking at my budget, I don't really have any room for equipment or parts. I was going to maybe, if this year was like last year, we did so good here. If this year would have been like last year, I would have gotten new tires put on the back of the 986. But again, economy mode, we're just going to have to run what we have another year. It's just how it worked out this year, and it's farming. I understand it. I've been around it. I'm not new in any way to this, how this has to go. So that's where we're at. Anybody has any more questions about where I'm at, let me know and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching, guys. It is getting dark here, so I'm heading in for the night. All right, see you.